The two newest cruise ships in the world just set sail, and at the top of each one is a private luxury enclave designed to take your cruise experience to another level. On the MSC World America, it's the Yacht Club, and on the Norwegian Aqua, it's the Haven. Both promise a ship within a ship experience, private restaurants, exclusive sun decks, priority everything, and service that goes way beyond what most passengers ever see. They're built for the same kind of traveler, someone who wants all the perks of a luxury resort without giving up the energy and entertainment of a mega ship. But while they're chasing the same goal, the way they deliver it isn't identical, and those small differences can make a big impact on your trip. So in this video, I'm putting the Yacht Club on the MSC World America and the Haven on the Norwegian Aqua head-to-head, experience for experience, to help you figure out which one fits your style best. Hey y'all, I'm Evan with Family at Sea, where we help make every cruise unforgettable. In today's video, we're diving into two of the most exclusive, sweet experiences on the newest ships in the world, the Yacht Club on the MSC World America and the Haven on the Norwegian Aqua. If you've been thinking about splurging on a suite or just wondering what these ultra premium experiences are really like, you're in the right place. In this video, I'll cover what makes each of these luxury enclaves stand out on board, how the service, perks, dining, and design compare side by side, and at the end, I'll reveal which one I'd personally choose if I were booking another cruise tomorrow. So stick around as we put these two sweet experiences head to head to find out which one delivers the most unforgettable escape at sea. If you're ready, I am. Let's go. Before we dive in, I want to point something out. We've cruised in the Yacht Club a lot more than the Haven, so we're a lot more familiar with the crew on board and the ins and outs of how MSC runs things. But with that said, I've been very intentional about not letting that familiarity skew this comparison. This isn't about who we know or what we're used to, it's about what we experienced on these two brand new ships. So everything you're about to hear is based on how these two ships performed and not how familiar we are with one over the other. Embarkation sets the tone for your entire cruise, and when you're paying suite level prices, that first impression matters. So let's start with the Yacht Club on the MSC World America. We arrived at MSC's brand new Terminal AA in Miami and immediately spotted the dedicated Yacht Club check-in tent in the parking garage. It was easy to find and clearly marked. From there, we were escorted to a roped off section of the terminal where we were offered Prosecco and small treats while they handled check-in. Now, they say there's going to be a private Yacht Club lounge in the terminal eventually, but as of our sailing, it didn't exist. Once the ship was cleared, we were personally escorted to our muster station and then to the topsail lounge where we were greeted with Prosecco once again. That part was great. The not so great part? Unlike what we've experienced in the Yacht Club on other ships where our room was ready within 5 minutes of arriving in the topsail lounge, on the World America, we waited nearly 90 minutes before we were allowed into our room and even longer before we finally met our butler. So while it looked and felt premium, it wasn't exactly efficient. Now over to the Haven on the Norwegian Aqua. Embarkation in Port Canaveral was confusing. There was no clear signage for Haven guests, and while numerous people told us we were supposed to be given stickers to signal to staff that we were Haven guests so they knew where to direct us, we never received them, and they honestly acted as if that was somehow our fault. That meant a lot of awkward explaining at every checkpoint just to get to where we needed to be. They did have a small lounge area in the terminal with snacks and Prosecco, but it felt basic, not the kind of premium welcome you'd expect. With that said, check-in was quick, but once we were cleared aboard, we were completely on our own. No escort, no direction, just a good luck out there. As for the muster drill, both cruise lines now let you complete most of it on your own time. MSC has finally ditched their old chaos-forced group muster, and a butler actually brought us by our muster station on the way to the topsail lounge, so we never even had to worry about it. Norwegian's muster drill wasn't difficult, but since we weren't escorted on the ship, it was on us to figure out where we needed to go. So who wins this round? Well, neither experience was perfect, but the Yacht Club gets the point. Despite the wait for our room, the whole process felt more curated and luxurious, while the Haven was a bit too DIY for something at this price point. Now let's talk about the rooms. For us, the room isn't a huge deal. We're really just there to sleep and shower, but I know for some of you, this is one of the most important parts of the entire cruise experience. In the Yacht Club on the MSC World America, we stayed in a Yacht Club Deluxe balcony suite, which is category YC1. It was comfortable and well equipped with a pull-out sofa for the kids, a stocked mini fridge, and an espresso machine. The balcony had 2 chairs and a small table, and it was nothing fancy, but it was enough to enjoy the view. The bathroom had a clean layout with a walk-in shower and a single sink, but the shower isn't fully enclosed with the rear third being open, so the floor outside the shower ends up soaked if you're not careful, and the heat escapes so you don't stay warm and the mirrors fog up. But even worse, the water temperature constantly fluctuated and got very hot anytime a neighbor flushed their toilet. While the room was fine overall, aside from it being larger than a standard balcony cabin, it really doesn't feel elevated compared to a standard room. Now, over in the Haven on the Norwegian Aqua, we stayed in an owner's suite with large balcony, which was category H5. Now, this is a higher tier option than a penthouse suite that would have been a better comparison to the YC1 we had in the Yacht Club, but those only accommodate 3 people. So for our family of 4, we had to upgrade to get a single room that would fit all of us. With that said, the difference in quality was clear, and not simply because it was a higher category of room. The finishes felt noticeably more premium, the lighting and curtain controls were modern if a bit finicky, and the bathroom was a standout. It featured a massive shower and bathtub that were separate but all behind the same glass doors that fully closed things off so you didn't have to deal with the heat and water escaping. It had a double wide sink and a toilet tucked into a separate water closet for added privacy, so somebody could use the bathroom while somebody else was in the shower without being too close for comfort. The mini bar was fully stocked with drinks, canned water, and 3 full-size bottles of liquor that we were able to custom choose, which was far more generous than what we saw in the Yacht Club. And perhaps most importantly, the Haven offers a much wider variety of suite categories, including some truly high-end options with sprawling layouts and upgraded amenities. The Yacht Club just doesn't have that same level of range. It's mostly standard suites with only a few higher end options that don't feel nearly as elevated. So when it comes to rooms, the Haven is the clear winner with their better finishes, more thoughtful design, and higher end options if you're looking for a top tier experience. And honestly, comparing suite experiences like this is exactly why I never book cruises on my own anymore. There are so many little details, from what room types actually sleep for to which suites have better bathrooms to whether a butler will even show up. And that's where Cruises It comes in. They don't just book cruises, they help you book smarter, the right ship, the right room, the right perks, all tailored to how you actually cruise, especially if your ideal vacation includes less stress, more sleep, and not awkward dinners with strangers named Linda. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Linda. They've hooked me up with better rates, extra perks, and upgrades I wouldn't have found on my own. Plus, with their low price guarantee, it means I'm not leaving money or my sanity on the table. It's like having a cruise expert in your corner who also happens to know how to get you onboard credit. So if you want someone who actually has your back, click the link in the description below or call the number on the screen and tell them Evan from Family at Sea sent you. You'll be glad you did. Now, let's talk about one of the most important areas for me personally, the lounge. I love having a quiet space to escape to after enjoying the rest of the ship. Somewhere I can unwind with a drink, take in the view, and maybe strike up a friendly conversation. That's a big part of what makes a suite experience feel truly special. In the Yacht Club on the MSC World America, the Top Sail Lounge absolutely delivers. It's perched at the forward of the ship with gorgeous wraparound ocean views, a full espresso bar, and live music every night that adds just the right amount of atmosphere. Service was excellent with multiple bartenders working at nearly all times, and there's a small menu of snacks you can order throughout the day. Unfortunately, the bar only has 5 seats, so it's often full and you're forced to use the lounge seating instead. Now, there's plenty available and it's comfortable, but it doesn't invite a friendly conversation the same way a seat at the bar does. In the very front of the ship is an outdoor section that wraps around the Top Sail Lounge, and it's largely used by smokers, but the smoke wasn't overwhelming when going flowing outside, and the interior space never smelled like smoke. It's open until 1 a.m., so the Topsail Lounge is the perfect spot for a quiet late night conversation. Over in the Haven on the Norwegian Aqua, the lounge has a different feel. It's nicely designed with darker tones and wood accents, but it doesn't feel as modern or open as the Topsail Lounge does. That said, it features a circular bar with 20 seats wrapped all the way around, making it easy to find a spot and even easier to strike up a conversation. The Haven Lounge has a great drink menu with a number of signature cocktails, including my favorite drink I've ever had on a cruise ship, the Smoky Dragon. This tequila-based drink is light, slightly sweet with a hint of smoke and carbonation, and it's just fantastic. The bartenders were fast, friendly, and on point the entire cruise. But unlike the Topsail Lounge, there's very little entertainment. There's no food at all aside from the occasional bowl of nuts, and last call's at 11:30, so a lot of nights they're closing things right when people are starting to show up. And before anybody jumps in to say, "But Evan, you can get food at the pool bar right outside the Haven Lounge." You're right, but that's a different area of the ship, and it also closes at 6 p.m., so that's not being considered here. And honestly, guys, this category is the closest of all of them for me to choose a winner. The Topsail Lounge wins on views, design, and having more to offer throughout the day and into the night, but the Haven Lounge still takes the point for me purely because it has a bar people are able to actually enjoy versus it feeling like they're just checking a box to say, yeah, we have bar seating. For someone who enjoys connecting with other guests, that matters to me a lot. The Yacht Club restaurant and the MSC World America delivered a fantastic experience all week long. The menu changes daily with rotating appetizers, entrees, a signature Italian dish, and a few healthy options. There's also a full dessert menu, plus some reliable classics that stayed on the menu each night. Service was a standout. We had the same servers and the same table every evening, and by day 2, they knew our preferences, remembered our allergies, and made the whole experience feel smooth and personal. And the ambiance? Beautiful forward-facing views right above the Topsail Lounge with a crystal staircase connecting the two. It felt elevated in every sense. Now, over to the Haven restaurant and the Norwegian Aqua. It's a nicely designed space with an option to dine outdoors in a shaded space, something the Yacht Club restaurant doesn't offer. But everything about the dining experience felt impersonal. Each night we were seated at a different table with different wait staff, and instead of noting that we didn't have any food allergies, they had to ask us every single meal, sometimes multiple times during the same meal by different people. The servers were glued to their tablets while taking orders, which made the whole interaction feel robotic, and there was no conversation, no connection, just tapping through a screen and moving on. They also skipped basic etiquette, regularly asking me for my order first instead of starting with the kids or my wife. And when the food came out, it wasn't delivered with any sense of ownership or flow or knowing which plate went to which person. Instead, it was auctioned off of the table with who had the chicken every night. The whole experience each evening just felt more transactional than tailored. But the worst part of it all, the menu doesn't rotate. Unless you make special requests in advance, it's the same exact menu every single night. That meant my wife, who's vegetarian, had the same entree all week because they only had a single vegetarian entree on the entire menu. And even when we did make a request in advance for the final night, it was forgotten, and it was only corrected after the head concierge Lester stopped by our table to check in and we mentioned it. It just didn't feel like a premium dining experience at all. Not compared to what the Yacht Club restaurant delivered, or honestly compared to what any other suite area restaurant we've ever dined in has delivered either. So the winner here, and it's not particularly close, is the Yacht Club restaurant. Has more variety, better views, and service that actually felt thoughtful and elevated. Exactly what you expect when you're paying for a luxury cruise experience. Now let's talk about pool decks, because when you're booking a suite, you're not just paying for the room, you're paying for a quieter, more relaxing place to soak up the sun without fighting for a lounger or waiting in line at the bar. In the Yacht Club on the MSC World America, the pool deck had its strengths, but also a few disappointments. The pool is oddly tucked into a back corner with no ocean views, and there's just one small hot tub for 400 guests in the Yacht Club. Not ideal for a space that's supposed to feel exclusive. They've also replaced the buffet buffet from older ships with a grill menu which had great food and the service was quick, but it lacked the convenience of a buffet. No longer do you have the option of a sit-down lunch in the yacht club restaurant or a grab-and-go buffet on the pool deck. Now you're simply choosing where you'd like to sit down and order. With that said, the food was good, it came out fast, and the service was excellent. Staff regularly checked in and brought drinks without us having to flag anyone down. If you enjoy grabbing a drink at the bar while taking in the pool and sun vibes, it's no longer an option, as there's no bar seating at all on the pool deck, and the bar they do have isn't even on the same deck as the pool and loungers. Overall, the yacht club pool deck is a letdown compared to previous ships. It worked, but it didn't wow. Now, the Haven on the Norwegian Aqua, on the other hand, really nailed this space. There's an infinity pool with wide ocean views and 2 small hot tubs 1 deck up in a peaceful adults-only area that adds a nice sense of calm. The bar is shaded and has actual seating, something the yacht club pool deck lacks, and while the food options at the bar were more limited, you also had the option of eating outdoors at the Haven restaurant during meal times. The whole setup just felt more polished and intentionally designed. So the winner here, and again it's not really very close at all, is the Haven with its much better layout, better amenities, and a space that feels like a true luxury retreat. Next, let's talk about service, because at the suite level, this can be the difference between a good cruise and an unforgettable one. Starting with the yacht club on the MSC World America, this is where the experience truly shines, at least when it comes to leadership and support staff. Melania, the yacht club director, was exceptional. She made every guest feel seen, remembered names, and somehow found time to speak with each of us every single day. She wasn't just reacting to requests, she was proactively identifying potential issues and fixing them before they ever became a problem. That level of presence and ownership elevated the entire experience. The concierge team was equally strong. William, the head concierge, was polished and professional, and Aline, who is, in my opinion, the best concierge on any cruise ship, went above and beyond every single day. The concierge desk is staffed 24/7 in a dedicated space, and they never made you feel like you were interrupting something. They were warm, helpful, and always on it, and every time you walked by, they greeted you by name. Now, unfortunately, that consistency didn't carry over to the butler side. Our butler on this sailing was the worst we've ever had in any suite experience. He was basically invisible. We barely saw him the entire week, and when we did, it was never proactive or helpful. He didn't follow up on requests. He didn't check in, and he left us leaning on the concierge and junior butler for things that really should have come through him. The one thing we did ask him for, the bottle of liquor that's supposed to be provided as a benefit of a yacht club suite, was never delivered even after asking him multiple times. In a space like the yacht club, that's a major miss, but fortunately our junior butler, which is essentially the room steward, was great and stepped up to try and pick up our butler's slack. Over in the Haven on the Norwegian Aqua, the structure wasn't as strong, but the individual crew members were excellent. Lester, the head concierge, was truly fantastic. He was friendly, solution-oriented, and consistently found ways to make our experience even better without us even having to ask. Our butler, Gary, did a great job and was frequently seen and greeting us, and our room steward Aljon was easily the best we've ever had on any cruise line. He was attentive, warm, and genuinely went out of his way to make our family feel special. The downside, the concierge team isn't available 24/7, and they seem to be understaffed, so when they are available, there was often a wait. And unlike in the yacht club where they would greet you by name every time you passed their desk, unless you specifically asked them for something, they didn't even acknowledge our presence, and they definitely didn't know our name. Another big difference is the Haven has no clear equivalent to the yacht club director. If there was someone in that role, they definitely weren't engaging with guests. That layer of visible leadership was completely missing. So the winner here is the yacht club. Even with a truly bad butler, the strength of Melania's leadership and the 24/7 concierge support made this service feel premium and intentional. The Haven had some amazing individual standouts, but as a system, it just didn't measure up. Now let's talk about one of the very important factors in all this, and that's the price, or more importantly, the value for what you pay. For our 7-night cruise in the yacht club on the MSC World America, we paid $8,400 for a yacht club deluxe balcony suite to fit all 4 of us. Over in the Haven on the Norwegian Aqua, we had to upgrade to an owner's 1-bedroom suite with large balcony because their standard penthouse suites only accommodate up to 3 guests. And that brought our total to $14,300. So in our case, the Haven was 70% more expensive than the yacht club for the same same length of cruise, same number of people, and a very similar itinerary. Now, if you're traveling as a couple, the pricing is more apples to apples, with the Yacht Club Deluxe Balcony costing $6,400, while a penthouse suite for two on the same sailing came in around $9,600, which is still a 50% price difference. And the gap widens when you look at what's included. The Yacht Club gives you Wi-Fi for 2 devices per person, plus thermal spa access. The Haven only includes 150 minutes of Wi-Fi per person, and to upgrade to 2 devices per person would cost you an additional $300 per person, and an additional nearly $300 per person for the thermal spa. So this tacks on an additional $1,200 between these two amenities, bringing the total price to $10,800, or a nearly 70% increase over the Yacht Club for the same benefits. So while both provide great experiences, with each having their own strengths, the value provided by the Yacht Club compared to the Haven is undeniable, so the Yacht Club gets the point here. And before we wrap things up, let's look at some additional factors that might influence your decision, starting with the layout of the space. The Yacht Club on the MSC World America is fully self-contained. Your room, lounge, restaurant, and pool deck are all in the same area, and it's easy to move between them without ever stepping into the main parts of the ship. The Haven on the Norwegian Aqua has its own private section too, but the layout isn't nearly as convenient. There are no suites on the same level as the lounge or restaurant, and there are no internal stairs to access the Haven areas, so that means you either wait on elevators, which were often slow, or you leave the Haven entirely just to use the public stairs. It's a clunky setup, and it made the experience feel less seamless. Outside the suite areas, the MSC World America truly delivers. The ship felt noticeably less crowded than every other MSC ship we've ever sailed on, and that made a big difference. Had better bars, more inviting pool spaces, stronger specialty restaurants, and a full slate of daily activities that kept the energy up without ever feeling chaotic. The Norwegian Aqua also has some standout features, most notably the Aqua slide coaster and the glow court, which were both fun, fresh, and unlike anything else at sea. Decks 6 through 8 have a premium upscale vibe, and overall the ship feels well designed. But crowding was an issue at times, especially for entertainment. As Sid Normans, you have to line up 75 minutes early just to get a seat, and the main theater often felt packed and overscheduled. Speaking of entertainment, this was another area where MSC pulled ahead, and for two different reasons. When it comes to seating with the Yacht Club, they have a section reserved specifically for Yacht Club guests, and as long as you get to the show 5 minutes before showtime, you've got a seat. Meanwhile, in the Haven, you still have to make show reservations and then get there 45 minutes early to get a seat because there isn't a section reserved for the Haven. But it's not just the seating, it's also the quality of the shows themselves. Queen Symphonic on the MSC World America was a standout and easily one of the best productions we've ever seen at sea. On the Aqua, there's only 3 unique production shows across the entire 7-night sailing, and none of them came close to the production value or variety we saw on MSC. And I'm gonna say that is the first time I've ever said that about MSC. Historically, MSC shows have not been great, but with the World America, they finally fixed that. Now, as for the private island experiences, Ocean Key wins that category with ease. Yacht Club guests get their own exclusive section of the island with butler service, an upgraded lunch, and 2 different peaceful, uncrowded beaches. It feels like a natural extension of the Yacht Club experience. Great Stirrup Cay, which is Norwegian's private island, is still solid, but it doesn't have an area exclusively for Haven guests, and it currently requires a tender to get ashore, which adds friction and just honestly annoyance to your day. They're planning to open a dock later this year, but as of our sailing, it wasn't ready. And another thing to consider is that Norwegian has a habit of scheduling short, rushed port calls, like Tortola from 6 a.m. to noon on our sailing, or when we visited Alaska last summer on the Encore, we were in Ketchikan for less than 4 hours and still had to take a long shuttle from the dock to town. These are more photo op ports than actual opportunities to experience the local culture. So the winner here for the experiences beyond the suites is the Yacht Club. From the suite level layouts to the full ship experience and production show quality to crowd management and port experiences, the MSC World America delivered a more complete and well-rounded cruise experience, both inside and outside the suite areas. So what's the takeaway here? These are two of the best suite experiences you'll find at sea, and no matter which one you choose, you're gonna have an amazing cruise. The real question isn't which one is better, but which one is better for you. And hopefully this video helped you see the differences clearly so you can pick the experience that fits your style, your priorities, and your expectations. So the final score, 5-3, Yacht Club takes the win. Now the bad news, even at the top of the market, there are still trade-offs. In the Yacht Club, we had the worst butler we've ever had, and they made some changes on the World America that most people really don't care for. And in the Haven, the restaurant felt flat, the entertainment felt limited, and the layout wasn't as seamless as it should have been. But the good news, both of these deliver private spaces, elevated service, and enough wow moments to make your cruise feel special from start to finish. The Haven has an incredible infinity pool, a peaceful adults-only area, an amazing bar, and standout service from people like Lester, Aljon, and Gary. But the Yacht Club and the MSC World America pulled ahead where it really counted. Better dining variety, more consistent service, smoother logistics, and significantly more value. And look, I know just because you want to pay for a top-tier experience doesn't mean saving money in the process isn't a priority. So whether it's a suite or just a smart balcony upgrade, you're not going to want to miss this next video. In it, I'll walk you through how we find the best deals, get extra perks, and avoid the overpaying trap most cruisers fall into. If you're ready, I am. Let's go.